The Inflation Reduction Act will now head to the House, where it's scheduled for a final vote this coming week. Joining me now, Democratic Congresswoman Judy Chu of California. She's the chairwoman of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Let's start with the big news of the day. I guess it started yesterday, but into today. Your reaction to the Senate passing this bill, and I guess more importantly, do you expect any complications, hiccups, whatever, when it comes to the House next week or this week?
I am just so thrilled that it passed. You know, we've gone through ups and downs on this bill over the past year, and there were moments at which we wondered whether it would ever pass at all. But to have this bill, which will do so much for consumers in America, which will lower costs for them and reduce inflation, this is a major step forward. And I'm looking forward to flying back to Washington, D.C. to cast my vote to make sure that Americans can have a better future and to make sure that they will be able better to handle their economic situation.
You'll cast a yes vote. I guess the question is, are there a handful of your Democratic colleagues who may want changes to the legislation, which could imperil its passage? Because as we all know, Speaker Nancy Pelosi has an extremely thin margin through which to move this.
Well, count me in as one who did want changes. I wanted to make the child tax credit permanent and to also have paid family leave and to include vision and hearing in Medicare provisions. But we all know that this is a result of compromise. In fact, some difficult forms of compromise where people really had to give up a lot of their dreams. Nonetheless, this is the most major investment in fighting climate change that we've ever had. And in addition to that, this will reduce costs for consumers. They are going to get actual rebates to make their homes more energy efficient. And there will be $1 billion in grants for affordable housing energy updates, which means that for so many Americans, the cost for their utilities will be lower. And in addition to that, drug prices will be lower because there's a $2,000 cap on drugs for senior citizens in Medicare. And also, insulin will be capped at $35 a month, at least for those in Medicare. So there will be significant portions of Americans that will see lower drug costs.
And well, I guess my curiosity here on the strict political terms, you talked about the benefits, you outlined all of them, but we only have about 3 months before the midterm elections. The insulin provision, for instance, will people who are on Medicare see before they cast ballots that their prescription drug costs are going down? Will people who are buying solar panels see tax rebates before they go and cast polls? How do you communicate this law to voters with such a short time frame to actually do so before people go to the polls?
Well, I think those who are going for rebates will see some immediate relief, and the caps on the drugs will take place fairly immediately. Some things will take a little longer time, such as negotiating for the prices of 10 drugs with Medicare. But I think that there will be things that people can see immediately. And in fact, this is a major accomplishment in terms of fighting inflation in this country, as people can see their prices come under control finally, because we know that we should not have ever had the situation where Americans pay the highest prices for prescription drugs in the world for the exact same drugs like insulin, which actually has not changed its formulary in 100 years. Right. Why are we in this situation? Well, we're finally getting a handle on it.
I want to switch gears a little bit to the other big topic that we've been dealing with, which is abortion policy. You know, this week, Kansas voted to keep their abortion legal under their constitution, a surprise result in that ballot measure. At the same time, though, Indiana passes a very strict ban on abortions with exceptions for rape and incest and the health of the mother, but a ban nonetheless. I guess I just sort of want to step back. Where do you see the politics of abortion right now at this moment when you have these two very different currents between Kansas and Indiana?
Well, there was a big difference in the vote in Indiana versus Kansas. Indiana was a vote of the legislature. Kansas was a vote of the people. And the people spoke. Now, Kansas has a population that is majority Republican that voted for Trump, and yet the vote to ensure abortion rights was overwhelming. There was an 18-point spread between the yes and no vote. So I think it says something about the desire of Americans to keep abortion as the law of the land, to keep Roe versus Wade. And in fact, I believe that that will translate into the November elections. We will see a reinvigorated electorate. They will come out in numbers. In fact, actually, the numbers that came out for the primary was twice as what they'd normally seen in Kansas. So people were definitely invigorated.
And again, it might be too late in the process for this, but would you like to see Democrats in some of these purplish, reddish states try to get ballot measures on the ballot for November in order to juice turnout like what we saw in Kansas?
I do think that it would make the population very, very excited to see that they could actually raise their voices on this very important issue. I mean, people today cannot believe that young women have fewer rights than their grandmothers, that women today have less rights than they've had for 50 years. And so they are stunned by this. Of course, we are actually losing lives, because if there's a woman with an ectopic pregnancy and she doesn't have time to go to another state, what's going to happen to her?
Right.
So we know that women's futures is at stake. They need the freedom to make decisions about their own bodies. That's why I think there should be a ballot election in each state.
And finally, last question for you, Congresswoman, but I want to get your reaction to the stat, which when I read it was honestly startling, but maybe I'm naive. You're the chairwoman, as we established, of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. So a poll comes out. It's from the Asian and Pacific Islander American Vote. It found that 52% of AAPI voters say they've never heard from or been contacted by the Democratic political party. 60% have never heard from the Republican Party. I guess I just am shocked that Democrats are not doing more to reach out to this obviously important and growing constituency that, if you look at the numbers, does vote heavily Democratic. It's like leaving low-hanging fruit basically uneaten. What is your explanation for why there's been so little outreach and what could be done differently?
Well, actually, this is a trend that had been there in the previous polls done by APIA Vote. And believe it or not, these numbers are a little bit better than in the previous polls that they had done. Now, what I can say that is positive is that the presidential campaigns have recognized the power and the potential of the AAPI vote. And in the battleground states, they did do the outreach. In Georgia, they did the outreach, and as a result, the API vote increase was 141%. Now, that came down to that many thousands of votes. In fact, there were 30,000 newly registered AAPI voters. And in a state where the presidential election came down to just 12,000 votes, there is no doubt that the Asian American community helped to secure Joe Biden's victory. That shows the power and potential of the AAPI vote.